Jiadi Vacherja. Welcome to the chat about Argora Sheila Nagig. The first thing I'd like to say, and probably the most important, is that whatever you believe about Sheila Nagig is totally fine with me. I'm not here to tell anyone what they should believe and what they should think. So, if her concept of fertility appeals to you, that's great. If you don't think she has anything to do with fertility, that's great. Same with protection and any of the other things. When you listen to an episode, you can take what you need and leave what you don't need, and I'm perfectly fine with that, and have no desire to change anyone's beliefs about a goddess or land spirit or tale. As I personally think that many things can be true at the same time and also be untrue at the same time. There is no, as I've said many times, codified truth, no one way to believe or worship. So, that being said, let's go through the little bit of notes that I didn't put in the show. I had mentioned in several other places that the Sheelas we have now are made of stone and that they are not ancient, they're old, but Monachan Magan said that there may have been other carvings that were wooden, but that those didn't survive. One of the things I read mentioned that because Sheila was present on secular buildings, that they didn't think that there was a connection between Sheila being a morality function or Christian use, but I do know that our idea of a separate world for things that are religious and things that are not is relatively new, and that in the past people really didn't think like that. So I don't know if that argument would really hold weight, because I think that particularly if the Sheila is, let's say, not a Christian figure, but rather a folk figure or something that would provide magical protection for you, that's something that would have been in your everyday life, and it really didn't matter what kind of building she was on. Religious life and everyday life were not separate. They were the same life. And religion, whether that's Christian or pre-Christian, superstition or belief in land spirits, those beliefs would have been entwined in everything that a person would have done that day, and thus in every building a person probably would have come in contact with. And this is a big side note that I didn't plan about talking about, but I've always been intrigued by the idea of land spirits of a building. So spirits that would belong to, say, the bathhouse, the stable, and so on, and ways that you would appeal to them and keep them content so that they would protect whatever you had in that building. Pivoting in a completely other direction, I have a note here. I really didn't read into depth about it, but it did mention that the poem about Fig Island may have been a dig at Catholicism, that these people were venerating a fig, comparing the fig to the Pope. One thing that I wondered reading this story, and I feel like I thought it the first time I saw the picture, which I would suggest you look the drawing up, is like, why do demons even have penises? Like, presumably he's scared that his own is gonna get chopped off, but, like, why do they even have them? Which I guess is, a whole argument of why are the gods, powerful beings in this religion, all men, and have apparently never seen a vagina and have no concept of one existing. But they do indeed exist, and in another example from Ireland, which I didn't include, of potential real-life Sheelas, there was someone who would have used their vagina power to heal things. Monachan Magan, that's where I got the examples of the real-life Sheelas. There were three. I only talked about one in the episode and one here. There was a German, Johann Georg Kohl. He was a journalist in 1843. He was traveling Ireland. He recorded that there was such a thing as a real life Sheela, and that women could heal a person if they were caught in an evil eye, which I guess was a big thing back then that happened. We don't know if he saw it himself or if someone just told him about it. I like the idea of a healing aspect to this magic, but you can also see if this magic is a counter to an evil eye, which is a curse itself, then it still is within that realm of curse, protective magic, things of that nature. And speaking of curses, I would really recommend y'all watch Mara's video that I've linked in the show notes about Welsh curses because I found it very interesting. This idea of a woman out of desperation really baring her breasts and laying this very powerful, very heavy curse on a person. And so she talked about an example of such cursing in her video, and I'm just going to summarize it quick, but again, I would suggest you just watch the video, it's really good. A woman's two sons were part of a band of red-headed thieves. These two sons were being persecuted by the law. The mother begged them to be spared, well, at least one of them to be spared. I don't think she said who, just at least one. Her request was denied, and she cursed them. She dropped to her knees, bared her breast, clutched them, and shouted at him, "These yellow breasts have given suck to those who shall wash their hands in your blood." And the man she cursed was murdered not long after by her children. So what she said was true, wasn't it? You know what? Actually, thinking about it, I think I'm going to make the thumbnail image that drawing I talked about. So, you will have perhaps already seen it. That's it. I've said everything that I've wanted to say anyway. There's a ton more to explore with the Sheela gig. This, I think, was a relatively short episode, and I would encourage people to go look them up. Go look at the Sheela Nagig website, which is listed in the show notes of the other episode. Listen to the Almanac of Ireland episode that talks about Sheela, and happy learning. Slán go fóill, Charja.